Ask you information about specific cases. I know you will say that you can't comment on that, so at this late stage of the evening, let's not go through that charade. I do want to ask you about one aspect, though, of ASIO's involvement in the vetting of the Palestinian visas, which is already on the public record and you've alluded to in your opening statement. An order for production of documents tabled in the Senate in September revealed that on the 16th of March this year, ASIO was referred by the Department of Home Affairs a list of 2,601 Palestinian visa holders and applicants. Can you just confirm that that did occur, that ASIO was referred those cases on that date?
I believe that is correct. My colleague is nodding his head, so yes, I can confirm that.
Some of those were visa applicants, but others of those were people who had already been granted visas. In your experience, in your time at ASIO, have you ever been referred that large number of visas on a single day?
That's a good question, Senator. In my recollection, no, but I will take that on notice to confirm, but I suspect the answer is no.
Thank you. And is it usual practice of the Department of Home Affairs to refer you on bulk visas that they've already granted?
Bulk referrals are not usual practice in my experience.
Okay. I asked the Department of Home Affairs what led to this, and they just said it was simply engagement between ASIO and the Department of Home Affairs. Obviously something changed which led this decision to be made. Can you shed any light onto why this decision was made?
I can confirm the Secretary of Home Affairs and I had a conversation, and where we ended was that they would refer those visas to us, and out of abundance of caution that we would check those visas.
Can you shed any further light on, what was significant about that date or that time or those conversations? I mean, these applications were being lodged in the aftermath of the 7th of October on a steady basis, but all of a sudden something changed. Was there a trigger?
No trigger as in alarming intelligence. It was a conversation the Secretary and I have, which is an ongoing conversation we have, depending on topical issues of importance, and it's where we landed. Out of an abundance of caution, ASIO would check those visas.
And it was not directed by government. It wasn't a decision of government. It was something that you and the Secretary agreed independently of government?
It was something the Secretary and I decided upon.
Okay. Given that you've said this is not usual practice to have such a large bulk referral, and without disclosing anything that you shouldn't in this forum, what's the impact on ASIO resources of being asked to do such a large number of visa examinations or assessments?
It clearly had an impact on our resources, but when we are faced with circumstances like this, we make priority decisions and reallocate resources accordingly, and I felt that we could do that without jeopardising other high priority matters that we're investigating.
But obviously ASIO only has a fixed number of people. As talented and hard-working as they are, if you surge them onto a task like this, you'd necessarily have to take them away from other tasks, but you're confident it hasn't detracted from any other duties of ASIO?
I'm confident, and you're correct, we do have to move away from other tasks, but we make decisions based on what's before us, and where we're comfortable we do so.
Is it ideal practice to be referred on bulk visas, including after they've been already granted?
In my experience, that hasn't happened. But again, I can take that on notice.
Is it good practice, though? Does it make things helpful or easy for ASIO?
In the end, I don't think it's a matter of whether it makes ASIO feel uneasy or not. If I and the Secretary come to a decision that we would check them out of abundance of caution, I think that's the right thing to do.
It has been publicly reported that one person has had their visa cancelled offshore due to a security assessment. Indeed, there's a federal court case which recently upheld ASIO's adverse security assessment. This is a person who was initially granted a tourist visa and used the granting of that tourist visa to leave Gaza and into Egypt, and was en route to Australia when ASIO caught the case. Is that an example of a kind of case that would have been better to refer to ASIO before the tourist visa was granted and not after?
It's certainly an example of where that might have helped, but actually I think it's important to point out that even when matters are referred to us, ASIO, despite our access to a whole range of information, including intelligence, can only act on the information before us. And we have seen cases of where we've checked and they're good, and then we learn something that says that's no longer the right decision, because security assessments or visa assessments are a point-in-time assessment activity.
Yes, and you've repeatedly said on the public record, ASIO is not all-seeing and all-knowing, and we don't expect perfection. We just expect the best that ASIO and it can do. But the risk of someone being missed in the process would be reduced if they were referred to ASIO prior to their visa being granted, not after their visas being granted. Isn't that logical?
Yes, I can't disagree with you, but not every visa is always referred to ASIO. We've got a part of the process. There's security checking criteria in a handbook. Elements of the handbook are classified for reasons which are obvious.
Of course.
But not everything gets referred to us, and nor do we require it to be referred to us.
No, but in this instance, you obviously decided it was appropriate for them all to be referred. Given that you decided it was appropriate in conjunction with the Home Affairs Secretary, obviously it would have been easier for ASIO to manage that significant surge in workload had these visa cases been referred to ASIO consistently from the beginning rather than on bulk and in retrospect.
I can't disagree with you. Yes, it would have been easier, but again, it's not always about what's easy. It's about doing what's right.
Well, if it's easier for ASIO to do its assessments, it's probably also better for Australia's national security as well, because we don't want circumstances where ASIO is overwhelmed with a large number of cases that it has to work through very quickly.
Sure. Well, I'll go back to what I said before. Sometimes, we could have been referred something and found it to be okay, and it turns out later we learned something else.
Yeah, indeed, and that's always a risk, but that risk is reduced if ASIO has referred things in a timely and normal way.
I guess I can't disagree with you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Director General. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.